Hey YouTube, Happy New Year. Happy New Year's Eve. All right, this is the morning of New Year's Eve. I want to talk a little bit about this guy, Massy, Jermaine Massy, the situation that happened in Portland, Oregon. I mean, of course it's wrong, and we've reported all these stories. Professionals and us have talked about this stuff for a long time. If there was YouTube and video cameras and such, we would have been talking about it for decades. It continues to happen. So apparently this guy, first they said, the first report was that these two people have been suspended. Now I'm hearing that they have been fired. Okay, here's the story. This guy, black guy, young, educated guy, was in a hotel, right? He had checked in this hotel. He was going to and fro, coming in or out of the hotel, and he got a phone call from his mother. You know, there's something going on with the family. We don't know if it was an emergency or just something they needed to talk about. So he sat down to talk to his mother, right? In a hotel where he had paid for the room. The security guard sees him talking on the phone in the lobby and comes over to him and asks him what room he was staying in. Now, there are people coming to and fro. No one else is being asked for the keys or evidence that they stay in that hotel, right? This is pure racism on the part of the guy called Earl. He was a security guard. Earl saw this man. I don't know. He has a very soft voice. I mean, he's not hyperactive kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? So I can't imagine him screaming into the phone. Plus, he's talking to his mother. Now, we all know that if there's anybody we're going to be talking to in a reasonable fashion, it's going to be your mother. He's not going to be screaming and, you know, and all this kind of stuff. He's talking to his mother in the lobby. This man, while he's on the phone talking to his mother, confronts him. Now, this man has every right to have an attitude about this. First of all, it's embarrassing him in front of his mother because she's still on the phone as he's being subjected to this. So I think that played a part in it. But that's the injustice of it. This guy tells him the police have been called. Just wait right here. Now, why would the police be called? This guy is the security guard. If you're in charge of security, how do you jump to the conclusion this boy needs to go to jail? Man needs to go to jail or be escorted off the property. He is so convinced that this guy, the problem was that the guy got smart with Earl and Earl didn't appreciate it. So now he don't even want him in the hotel. Because at one point the guy said, I'm staying here, right? He had his I guess this kind of card key thing, whatever. And Earl says, not anymore. Why? Because because I resisted your harassment. You're the one that works here. And you're not above me, sir. You're a security guard. It ain't like you are some billionaire or something. You're the security guard. You work for the place that I pay the money to, so I'm paying for you essentially. Right? It's humiliating. So I don't know what I can add to this story except for I was trying to look back. Okay. Have I experienced blatant racism like this? Now, we've all had where you go into a store and you realize that the security guard is following you. Or at least I have. Security guard is following you for no reason. You haven't put anything in your pocket. I had an incident this year. And this was a black dude who, because I had my Kindle in my pocket, in my jacket, he came to me at the register. Start staring me down. Oh, you got something in your coat. I said, bro, do I look like I'm homeless or something? How in the hell you? Just when I was about to cuss him out, he has to rush over to where people are taking loads of stuff out the doors. But he wants to harass me because he don't like the way. Maybe you just don't like the fact that I'm fat. Do I got to explain that I am fat? Should I show you the fat? Still happens. But I was reflecting on, have I experienced blatant racism like this? And it brought back a story. Okay, I'm telling you this story about racism. And I have, to be honest, I haven't experienced a lot of that. There's always racism where you don't get the apartment, but it's always a different reason. or you don't get that job, but it's always a different reason or you didn't get the job. Somebody else was more qualified, that kind of stuff. Where it's not right in your face. We're telling you we don't want you because you're black. But I used to work at Robinson's department store in Beverly Hills, right? This is on right on Sunset Boulevard. This is a big department store. I would say it's like, if you made them levels, let's say Neiman Marcus was at the top of number 5, this would be like a number 4 as far as the prices and so forth. But it's pretty high-end department store located in Beverly Hills, right? I was a sales clerk there. This is years ago. I hadn't been a sales clerk for a while. But there was opening at Neiman Marcus, which was down the street, right in the heart of downtown Beverly Hills. I said, that's a come up. And I knew they made a lot more money than we did at Robinson's, right? So I applied for the job. The person seems like the interview went well. I was dressed in my best suits. You know, all they expect retail clerks to dress like the customers, or to at least look like you belong there, right? So I had on my very finest. The thing went well. The lady said, we'll give you a call. I had applied to sell men's suits. This is where, like, the as high as you can get selling retail in a department store is selling men's suits, right? So I applied there, started there. That's what the ad they put out was for retail sales men's suits. I had plenty of experience. The woman called me. Well, we have a job for you. We got a job for you. So come on down. It's in a little different department, but we're impressed by you, right? So I go down to Beverly Hills, Neiman Marcus, to the same office where I applied. And the ladies telling me this person will escort me to the job. We can discuss the job. They took me to the marking room. The marking room, right? I applied to sell men's suits. I was qualified to sell, certainly in the sales departments. He takes me to this this back room in the basement, the marking room. You know what? Here's the clincher. You couldn't find a black face in Neiman Marcus, right? Just shopping, I mean, usually. I mean, celebrities and stuff have money. But at that time, this is in maybe 1980. You didn't see a lot of black people around Neiman Marcus. I assume that I didn't go and check every person to see if there were any other black people working there. They took me to this room. It was the marking room. Every person working in the marking room was black. There was one Mexican guy, and everyone else was black. I can't tell you how much that hurt and how much I wanted to turn around and walk out of there. But I couldn't because I needed the money and rent was due. That's an experience that I will never forget. I think it leaves emotional scars on you. It's humiliating. Now, we didn't have all this internet stuff back then. But, well, of course, we're all hoping this guy, what's his name? Jermaine Massy, is going to sue them. Certainly, the story is big enough. People have heard of it. But it's got to help the case. Because you can say, well, I am humiliated. I'm humiliated in front of the world. Well, you chose to be humiliated. I told the truth. I showed you what happened to me. Sounds like a pretty good lawsuit. So let's hope that he does and he wins. They must take it pretty seriously, or the hotel realizes what trouble they're in behind the story, because this morning they said that the people had both been suspended. And now, from the latest news report I heard, they have both been fired. As it should be. Definitely Earl should have been let go. Earl should have been let go. He is the security. He's in charge of security there. Whatever situation that was, the guy wasn't loud. He wasn't violent. Earl should have handled it like a man, like an employee. Somebody decided to do that. The man didn't want to, he showed his key or didn't want to show his key, contact the manager. This case, Earl told the manager to call the cops. The manager called the cops. That's it. He hadn't even seen the guy yet. He's meandered over to say that the police were on their way. But so he's secondary responsible because he co-signed what Earl was harassing this man. Now, for me, they're both kind of dumb because the moment the boy, I keep saying the boy, I don't understand that. Anyway, the moment the guy, because this is an adult, a grown man, the moment the guy he pulled his cell phone out and started photographing the situation, you would think they would apologize, they've seen the key, and left him alone. You would think. But Earl's ego got in the way, and he's not going to have nobody talking smart to him. Because the guy continually called him, not name, not motherfucker, not cocksucker. He called him Earl. This case. Anyway, let's hope this guy gets justice. Monetary justice. Because it is a painful thing, and it shouldn't be happening. And we get a story once a month or so where it has happened. And that's only because those people have chosen to film the situation. So people become masters of your cell phones. Know how to use a cell phone. I don't know how to use it. I don't ever use the phone. Learn how to use your cell phone camera. How to instantly record. It's one click. And things get better. Okay, other than that, it's New Year's Eve morning. Right? Yeah. So, do I have a resolution? The resolution this year is I would love to write again. Write books. I'll tell you, honestly, okay, I wrote 12 books. First book, 2 years to write it. Small book, it was autobiographical. Then I wrote a novel, sort of loosely based on the memoir. After that one, kind of left it open. I wanted to write more and more and more. And I wrote for the next 10 years this series, right? I loved writing the stories. I was amazed that I had so much information inside my skull, much more than I thought I had. But when it came to the publishing of the stories, I mean, they were not big sellers. These books, I self-published them. I did not have the confidence that this would be a book that people were wild about publishing, only because their book industry has changed so much. Whereas usually celebrities or well-known writers that get put in bookstores when they can find a bookstore to put them in. That whole industry has shrunk. I said, well, this is more of a vanity project for me. I just want to see if I can tell a good story, right? Well, that's good. You kind of fill your bucket list up. Wrote total of 5 books. But after that, it's like, damn, I'm putting hours and hours and hours and hours into this book. And if no one's going to buy it, or no one's going to be aware of it, or I'm not going to have the machine behind me to push this book, why am I doing it? I mean, I've already gotten the thrill of telling the story. I already convinced myself that I am not stupid. Well, there are questionable days. I can do this. And my stories, I think, were good. A couple of them were excellent. They were fantastic. But I got discouraged because I didn't see any monetary benefit in doing it. At least not self-publishing. Self-publishing is great if you're just writing a book because you want to write a book. Your family will read it. Co-workers will read it. People in your church will read it. Things like that. The average self-published books sells 100 books. So basically, it pays for itself, and that's it. Don't expect any more from that. And that's a real statistic. What in that 12 years I was writing, that statistic was consistent. There are people who break through, and a lot of it comes down to who has read your book. The right people. It's gotten into the right people's hands. But rarely does the self-published book turn into a traditionally published book. Anyway, I said all that to say, I thought the series was over, and I just lost my desire to write anymore. I said, oh, I'll get back to it. Well, we all know how that goes. Oh, I'll get back to it. I'll get back to it. Everybody's got a novel in them. Many of us have started and stopped and said, I'll get back to it. So I would love to get back into it for my new year. That's my resolution. I would love to start a writing project. People say, oh, it's a lot of work. Well, you know, you get up in the morning, you write for an hour. That was my rule. Eventually, you'll have something. So that's what I'm hoping for. Like that old song used to say, all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. All I want for New Year's in 19 is to at least start up. No, I want to finish a book. I think you should spend about a year on it. Unless you have contracts, people waiting on you and all that kind of stuff. I think a year is a good period of time to write the book, because you're going to spend another 6 months getting it together, editing and all that kind of stuff. All right. So you guys say a little prayer for me today in your prayers tonight, on your prayer list. Put me on your prayer list that I'll be able to follow through. A Happy New Year.